Sylvia Garcia, and Jonas Carlson representing U.S. Congressman Ted Poe. We also have Consul General of Pakistan, Mohammed Akhil Nadeeb, here with us. We also have Harris County Sheriff Adrian Garcia, Harris County Attorney Vince Ryan, First Assistant District Attorney Belinda Hill, Houston Police Chief Charles McClellan, Ann Johnson, Carolyn Lacey, and Bill Flores, President of UH Downtown. Thank you for all of you for being here, and we appreciate your support. One of the first goals of the task force was to launch a public awareness campaign to educate the public and bring this issue to the forefront for every Estonian. As public awareness is a critical first step that needs to take place in order for victims to be rescued and for the traffickers to be put in jail. As you listen to the speakers today, I encourage you to help us spread the word about this issue by tweeting, Facebooking, and Instagramming what you've learned. And please use the hashtag #ShineAlightHouston. In order to give you a proper understanding of this issue, I would like to start the evening by reading a story of survival. This is a story of a survivor of human trafficking that was identified, rescued, and found justice right here in Houston. This is a story of Sinta, a 38-year-old female from a poverty-stricken country in Southeast Asia. She was recruited to work for a highly successful couple in Qatar. Sinta agreed because she was desperate for a job. As one of 8 children and 3 of her own, she could not find work, and her family was starving. At first, things seemed to work smoothly. After working with the family in Qatar for a year, the couple introduced her to a family friend, and the family told her that she would be escorting this friend to the U.S. to work for her. Sinta did not want to come to the U.S., but was told if she didn't, that she would never be able to get work again. She believed them because they were people of wealth and influence. Reluctantly, Sinta traveled to the U.S. with her new employer. She was taken to a home in the Houston area where the woman took her passport and instructed her she would never leave the house as she didn't want the neighbors to know. She also was instructed to not ever open the door when someone knocked. When guests came, she was to hide in the bedroom closet. That same closet was also the place where Sinta slept for the few hours she was allowed to sleep every night. She cleaned, washed, cooked, and ironed for practically 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. On the weekends, the employer took her to the huge homes of her friends and family, where she was also to clean their homes, take care of their children as well. Sinta was not allowed to eat at the dinner table. She was forced to sit on the floor. She was beaten on a regular basis and verbally abused. For all of this work, Sinta was not paid a dime. As time went on, Sinta became increasingly worried about her family. She had promised to send them money, and she knew that they'd be frantic with worry as she never made any contact after she left Qatar. She did not know what to do. She was isolated and had no reason to trust anyone. She almost lost all hope. Almost. But then one evening, after her employer had left the house for a function, this slight woman of no more than 80 pounds plucked up the courage and escaped through the doggy door. She walked the streets of Houston for hours, lost and terrified. She had no idea where she was and could not communicate with anyone as she did not speak English. Eventually, a good Samaritan encountered her and called the appropriate authorities to help her. When she arrived at the YMCA's trafficking program for services, Sinta was bruised, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. She appeared fragile, was in desperate need of medical care. The YMCA provided her with interpretation services, medical treatment, housing, food, clothing, transportation, ESL classes, advocacy, and emotional support. A pro bono attorney here in Houston assisted her with immigration relief and filed a civil suit against her trafficker on her behalf. The outcome of both the criminal and civil cases against the trafficker was that Sinta received restitution. She recovered her lost wages and got justice from the suffering her trafficker caused. Because of all the help she received, Sinta's life has forever been changed. She's gainfully employed and reunited with children that she's not seen for many years. Today, she's proud to say that she even speaks a little English. I wanted to start this evening with a story as it best illustrates what human trafficking can look like in our city. It comes in many forms, and this is just one story that we see every day. Human trafficking, for example, can be found in our local restaurants, at nail salons where you got your last pedicure, and at the construction site building the brand new apartment complex in your neighborhood, and is part of the commercial sex industry that is an unfortunate part of our city. Human trafficking is also what I call an equal opportunity slavery. It affects all people, men, women, and children, both from the U.S. and those who are from abroad, like Zinta. This is a crime that preys on the vulnerable, and those vulnerabilities come in many forms. I now would like to invite Matilda Rosas, who will tell her story as a domestic worker here in Houston and explain some of those vulnerabilities.